think I'm going to Crystal.
But mostly like a
I'm still hearing voices. Hi, I think we are live.
Hey.
Okay, I'm still hearing kid voices, but I don't know where they're coming from. Okay, we are live, and I know we're expecting one more person who will pop on hopefully in a moment, but I wanted to say welcome to everybody to our very first Google Hangout with the Team Faith Family Plexus. I'm kind of excited, and just praying that it goes well. We're hoping to do more of these if we can kind of get the hang of it. Get it? See what I did there? Hang of it? Hang it. Oh, anyway, so I am just going to, we have a long list of questions for you guys that you guys have actually asked of us, and we're going to get through as many of them as we possibly can. Let me just quickly introduce who is on the call with us. First we have, I'm just looking right on my little boxes at the bottom. We have Crystal. Crystal is a gold ambassador, and she is coming from Modesto, so don't you love technology? This is great. Over here we have Jory, and she is also a gold ambassador coming from Texas. Awesome sauce. And then we have Joy, who is coming from her minivan in somewhere in San Diego. And she is a senior gold ambassador as well, and myself. Hopefully Kelly is able to log on. She's texting me right now and telling me she's having difficulty, but we're just going to move forward because that's just what we do. So I'm going to go ahead and start the questions, and the ones that are meant for Kelly, I will just pop in and answer those unless she's able to join us. Okay? Sound good? You guys ready? Okay, so the very first question, and if you see me looking at, it's because I'm looking at my computer behind my laptop. So the first question is for Joy. How do you talk to someone who is struggling with results? Health is still not where they want it to be. I'm not sure what that sound is coming from. Car?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, so how do you talk to someone who is struggling with results? The health is still not where they want it to be, and the weight is not coming off. They are ready to quit. How do you personally keep them going?
So one of the things that I always want to do is just talk to them about consistency, if they're drinking enough water, if they're taking their products every day, and kind of talk about those things first of all. And then maybe sometimes we want to tweak their product usage a little bit. So sometimes we want to lay off the slim and just focus on their gut health. But it really comes down to talking to your customers and your maybe your wholesale ambassadors to get at the root of the problem and just kind of understand where they're coming from. Everybody's body is different, so this is not a one-size-fits-all. You have to individualize what you're doing. So I think it's really just talking to people. Sometimes people will fess up and say, oh, well, I don't drink my water. Well, then you could say you have to drink your water or it's not going to work. Or I've been taking Plexus, but I eat fast food every day. Well, then you have to kind of work with them on that. So it really just comes down to talking to your people and getting them to talk to you about what their habits are and that kind of thing. And then understanding the products and tweaking those a little bit is what I usually do.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. With that, because I think that's where follow-up is so important. If you're not following up with your customer and all of a sudden it's day 30 and they're like, no, peace out, I'm not reordering, and you're like, why? Well, that's why follow-up I think is so important, is because you are kind of week by week and sometimes every few days depending on the customer, checking in with them and making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. And also I always challenge people at the beginning to give it that full 60 days. Explain to them that I am their coach, I'm there for them no matter what, and I'm going to be checking in with them. So there's some accountability there. So there is some, they take some responsibility as well themselves. So I always am upfront with people right at the beginning, telling them this is what you can expect, and I just tell them to bear with it and to give it that full 60 days, because that is why Plexus has that guarantee in the first place, is so your bodies can have a chance to adjust. So that's really what I do. I'm in constant communication with my customers. In fact, just before this call, I was on the phone with one that had Edge for the first day, and she was beyond thrilled. So the next question then is for Jory. Hi, Jory.
Hi.
So the question was, are there trainings on each product, and if so, how do you learn personally about each product?
Yes. Sorry, I have notes too, so forgive me if I'm looking at them. The first and best thing to look at is your welcome kit. I don't have it. It's packed away in my storage unit right now because we just moved. So your welcome kit has those little cards in it, and on the cards have all the products, and it has information on them. That's your first resource. The next resource I would say is our back office. Our back office has two really awesome pages. If you go under Tools, you can find the resource library, and the resource library has information on all the products. And then also there's a little tab called Knowledge Base, and it actually goes in depth in all the products. So like, can I mix my Slim with warm or hot water? How do I do this? How do I do that? Can I take this at night? Can I take these together? There are a lot of good Q&As that you're going to get or that you think of. Pretty much every question that's ever been asked is there. So that's right there. My third favorite place to find information is YouTube. Ame Darling is amazing. Like, her name should be Amazing Darling because she's so good in all of her explanations of everything. She comes from a nutritionist standpoint and a really nice scientific background of how things work and why they work. And so it allows you to understand what the product's doing, so you don't just understand what the product is, but what it's actually doing, so you can recommend it better to somebody else. And then, of course, we have our training pages. We have our customer training pages, our new ambassador training pages. If you're pregnant, there's pregnant training pages. There's diabetic training pages. I mean, Facebook's filled with them. So if you need help, you can ask any of us so we can get you hooked up to the right page. Don't forget our Faith Family Plexus page, all of our other downline pages. We all have a lot of info on there. So that's where I get my info. And then if you ever are stuck, ask. Ask.
For real. Yeah, I love that. I love that. There is so many places where you can get information, and to stay silent is no good. That's not what you want to do. And another thing that I actually use, and I'm just going to piggyback because all of that is great, if you don't have the website Plexus Power Tools, that is also it's $10 a year. It's got like every ingredient and everything, like FAQs, everything, a lot of which I have in our files, but that I take and download and stick there. But that's another option as well. Great, thank you, Dory, so much. So the next question is for Crystal. I'm going to unmute you real quick. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
And the question is, what type of connection to others has served you the best or served you well in this business? Like, is it face-to-face, phone calls, messenger, texting, opportunity meetings? What has served you well, and what is maybe most success with?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, well, personally, I think the best way is face-to-face, because you don't have to spend all that time trying to message back and forth, are you interested? Or maybe they reach out to you and say they're interested. Then you try to send them a little information, and it just, like a ping pong, it just goes back and forth, and it can take weeks or even months or longer. And so really the best way is to either just pick up the phone, but I think the ultimate way is really just to talk to that person when you see them in person, and just ask them, like, if as far as you're trying to get them to join your team, don't be afraid to just say, hey, I think you would be amazing, for this business, like what I'm doing. And I would love for you to join my team. I work with people. I get to help them, coach them how to get healthy, and it is just awesome. And then, of course, you share why you like it, and usually I just tell them about how easy it is really to get paid with this company by just sharing your story, and most people are really receptive to that as well, or they at least want more information. So I think definitely face-to-face is the best, and if you can't do that, second best would be just pick up the phone, because they do need to hear your voice. It's a big difference than just sending them a text or a message, because people can hide behind that and answer in a way that you're not even sure, and then you start to second guess yourself. and then you play, those mind games in your head.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think there's nothing better than talking to somebody. There's all these other avenues, but talking to somebody and them hearing your passion, like Crystal just said, is awesome. Okay, so our next person, welcome Kelly. By the way, I'm going to introduce Kelly because she joined.
Hi.
Made it. She is also a Senior Gold Ambassador on our team, and she was able to hop on, and I'm really excited. So actually, Kelly, the next question is for you.
Okay.
The question is skeptics. How do you deal with skeptics? And I actually was going to answer this question as well, but I'm going to have Joy answer it too because she has a great story from just today. So Kelly, first of all, how do you deal with skeptics?
Boy, skeptics, I think it's different for every person, and it depends on their reasoning for being a skeptic. For me, things that have worked in the past are like going in and sending them stories and testimonies, things, or even sharing my own story with them has been successful because I have had success on the products, and so I share what I've done. I show them my before and after picture. I show them, I show them personally, what's possible if, if they're consistent and drink their water and give it time. I think there's a lot of things out there on the internet to make anybody skeptical of everything. And shoot, I was skeptical at first. I think a lot of people start out that way. And then it's the success that kind of brings you around and helps you see, But I think if you can figure out what it is that they're skeptical about, if it's ingredients, you can always share labels with them. If it's financial skepticism, you can discuss your business and how, I've discussed my business. I share how mine has grown, and so whether it's product or business, I think you just have to find what it is that they need to hear and be a good listener. That's some of my best advice is just to really truly listen to what it is that they're, and some people might just need time, and follow up, and that's been where my success has been with skeptics.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. I really think that finding out who that person is and where they're coming from and what is the source of their skepticism is key, which kind of leads me into Joy's story for today. Joy, tell us, I know you're kind of in the dark there and driving, but tell us how you've dealt with skeptics, because you have a great story from just today.
So I have this friend who has been just really rude since the first week I was ever posting about Plexus. And he would just send me these messages, just totally questioning everything, being mean. And I almost unfriended him actually multiple times. And I just keep deleting his comments and leaving it there. Well, today's Diamond Doc was all about this family, this husband and wife who live in Alaska, and they're both getting their pilot's licenses, and they drive their ATVs, and they're playing with their toys all day long. And so this friend of mine is way into all that. He wants his own plane. He posts all these things that he wants, these dreams he has for his life someday, and about retiring when he's 45, and he's always posting stuff like that on Plexus. So I sent him this video, and I just said, hey, you're my biggest skeptic. I don't expect you to ever want anything to do with Plexus, but this reminded me of you. And he messaged me back and said, you caught me at the perfect timing. I am having some health issues. Can this help? And what kind of money are you making? And so needless to say, I just have never given up on him, and in the back of my mind going, he'll probably never ever want anything to do with it, but today he expressed interest. So you just never ever ever know. So I would say never ever write anybody off until they give you an absolute no, I don't ever want to talk to you about Plexus again. So I think it's just remaining consistent, not pushy. I didn't say, hey, buy Plexus from me. I said, hey, this reminded me of you. I just thought you might find it interesting, and left it at that. So now we're in a conversation, and I don't know. He might buy, he might not. But It's okay. It's all good either way.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that. I think that is key, never ever giving up on people. And what you hear from some of our biggest, most successful people in the business is they were once the biggest, what? Skeptic, right? Okay, so let's go on to our next question. This is for Crystal. I'm going to unmute real quick. Crystal. So when people ask about your progress because they notice you look healthier or you've lost weight, and you tell them I started taking healthcare supplements by Plexus, how would you explain the supplements without overloading them or vomiting Plexus on them in a very simple conversation? How would you kind of introduce the fact that you're taking those without bleh on them?
Okay, so I would basically tell them that I take these supplements that are mineral plant-based, and they target your gut health and your blood sugar, and regulate your blood sugar, regulate your cholesterol, give you energy, help just kind of get your body back to where it needs to be, help with weight loss, or if you don't need to lose weight, it just kind of keeps, manages your weight. It helps if you do need to lose weight. It can help with losing inches, and it just helps you just feel great about just overall healthy. So I try not to talk too much about it, but I like to start with that it's mineral plant-based supplement, and that it's just something that you really need to try for yourself. And I share like I found gold, like these products are gold.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love that too. If we get excited, and I watched a video once when they were talking about, like, when somebody asks you what Plexus is, you should be like, what? You haven't heard about Plexus? This is like a game changer. This is the thing that has kept me home with my kids and is changing my life. And I think if you were to answer it with excitement, like you just said, like that it's gold, I think that is really going to be impressed upon people. Kelly, what would you say? How do you keep things simple, and how do you not throw up on people? Literally,
I've gotten a lot.
Not literally.
I know. I've gotten a lot better at that. I think at first I threw up on people with it, and I sent them lots of information, and just because I was learning too, and it just was like too much info. I think people don't really want to read all of that. They don't, they're looking for help, but don't necessarily want to read all that. So I keep it very simple, much like what Crystal said. I just say, it's a health and wellness, line of supplements, and just get into the nuts and bolts about blood sugar regulation, about gut health, and I also talk about the standard American diet and how everybody needs these products. And I think that that in itself, just the gut being the source of so many issues in our body, that is where I start. And then I listen, because they will relay to you. Before I got better at it, I think I didn't listen. I just, stormed on in, and now I kind of hang back a little bit. I listen and hear from them, their story, what they've got going on, and given time, they reveal a whole lot more of what's going on in their body, and then you can be more helpful and suggest what would be helpful to them. But they can they almost convince themselves that they need it if you let them talk. And you respond to them, and you're like, oh yeah, well this would definitely help with that. And I think it's like the reverse philosophy. Don't shower them with info, hold it back, and then let them know what they need to know when they reveal what's going on with them. And for everybody, it's very different.
I agree. Listening is key, and you always want to keep that conversation going. Give them a little bit. They respond because you're asking them questions. And it's also relationship building at the same time. It's not just here buy my product. They give, you give, and you're building a relationship, and you're having a conversation. If you just everything out at once, they're like, thank you for giving me a novel to read. So don't do that. So keep it simple. Theme is keep it simple. Okay, Joy, you are next with our next question. Okay, so short of taking someone's wallet and ordering for them, how do you get potentials and really excited about the product and told you they're going to order, which we all have these people, I have a few right now, but they just haven't pulled that trigger yet. What do you do in those cases to maybe either get them to order or to encourage them without being a nag?
Well, I hope I'm not a neg, but it's different with different people. Some people, I just constantly remind them, and because I've had a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I want to try it," and then, it'll be weeks or months before they actually do. So sometimes I tell them, "I have something I'm trying to earn. Can you help me?" They'll be like, "Oh, sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll totally help you," because they would rather help me than help themselves first, which is nice of them. But other times, because it just depends on the person. I honestly don't ever care about, in the beginning I didn't care about making money. I just wanted to help people get healthy and expose people. So I'd offer an incentive, hey, I'll happily refund your shipping, or I have a little something to send you if you order from me. So usually that kind of gets people, because then they know that it's not about me making a sale, it's about me helping them. Other people, it's just constantly checking in and not being a nag, just saying, you don't want every conversation to be about Plexus, but say, hey, I saw this and it reminded me of you today. It could be a funny memory, it could be anything that makes them not feel like your relationship is all about you getting them to buy something. So I have friends that I'm still like that with, and I try to keep my messaging and my contact very minimal about Plexus, knowing that they're interested, but I know that they know that I'm here when they're ready. So it just all depends on the person, but those are some of the tips and tricks that I've done to get people to jump in. So
yeah, that's great. I agree. I think just keeping the conversation going and showing them that it's not just about the sale, that we are in the relationship business. We hear that all the time, but it really truly is that. So just keeping them, at the forefront of you're in their mind because you watch their posts and you're checking on, seeing how they're doing, or you saw a picture that you thought was great. A follow-up doesn't necessarily have to be about Plexus every single time. In fact, it shouldn't be, because then you're become a walking ad and people are going to be running away from you because you're like, oh, crazy Plexus lady, and it won't be a good thing. Okay, so the next question actually is for me, but any of you guys can pop on if you want, or answer or add if you want to add anything. So when you're in a rut, what keeps you going? Okay, we've all been there. We've all been in ruts. We've all been in places where we feel like we're not growing, or we aren't hitting that promotion, or we've tried again that month and it hasn't happened. I wouldn't say I'm currently in a rut right now. Feels like one, but not really. It's slow growing because summer's a little bit slow. So what keeps me going? Well, first of all, my team. That keeps me going. Knowing that I'm responsible for 400 people underneath me, not individually, but leading them and leading their leaders, that keeps me going. Personal development, that keeps me going. You guys, I didn't even know what personal development was. I mean, I would read my Bible and I read some devotional books that were great, and I know that was personally developing me. But when it came to personally developing my soul, I really didn't have any clue what that was about. And I feel like that growth, when those things are slow Plexus-wise, I need to grow me. Because who am I becoming in the middle of that? That is what's key, and that is what is important. If I sit and wallow and feel sorry for myself, that's not leading well. So I need to lead by example, and remembering that I am leading by example, and people are going to see a side of me. I want it to be positive and uplifting, and to show growth. I really want to grow in that time. So what do? I do a lot of personal development. I talk with people that are above me. I really, really, really value those people who are above me, the Emilys and the Amys and the Sylvias, and they pour into me, and they really help me see things from a different perspective, because it's really easy when you're stuck to be like, I'm stuck, I'm in a hole, and they're like, no, you're not, you're growing, you're leading your team, you're doing a great job, you're doing this, you're doing that, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. So definitely, when you're feeling low, contact your upline. They are key, because guess what? They have been there. So that is something that I do as well. I pray a lot. That's also what I do. I really do lift my team up to the Lord. And when I feel like I'm getting, a little bit, my thoughts are swirling, that's when I feel like I need to take a step back. And have I even prayed about this? Probably not. That's probably why I'm so frustrated. So I do that as well. And to be quite honest, all of those things that continue to develop me personally, that is what gets me unstuck, for real. Did anybody else want to add to that? I don't know. Or anybody else get stuck? What do you do? Or is it about the same thing? I'm curious. Anybody? Bueller?
I think Crystal does.
So,
Go for it.
oh, I was just going to add, well, I've been in the business for only about 6 months, and I don't really feel like I've been in a rut yet, which is good. But I would say, those days where you don't get customers for a while, or maybe you don't get ambassadors for a while, because it's really exciting when you do. And so I would say, go on YouTube and find some of those diamond documentaries, or find, just any of those really good plexus leader videos, and just do some more training and get really excited and pumped up. And also go back to your why and read it over and go back to it and say, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this business. That's why, I'm going to keep going forward. And just building up your belief in yourself and in the company and in the products can just push you, spring you forward and keep you going.
That's true. That's key. I'm glad that you mentioned belief. That is so key. Because when you're down, that's when you start disbelieving or not believing in yourself. And when you are continuously building your belief, when you get in those times, you can be like, that's okay. I'm building, who I am now is important, and I'm building for what's to come. So that was great. Thank you for putting that up. Okay, so
I think I can jump in too if you wanted another quick one, or are you good?
No, go for
I think
it.
I felt like a slump between gold and senior gold, because it's a hard climb from there to there, it seems, because about that time, I think you start to find white lines in your back office, and you have to replace and replenish, and that can be it can tug on you a little bit, and it's like, okay, come on, and you think you're there, and then it's not there, and it can you have to really watch your emotions, because you can't get emotional about it. You cannot take it personally. The people that are in your back office are your friends and your family, and everybody goes through tough times, and it's a money business and it's a people business, and you have to be smart about how you approach people, because you don't want to send them running in the other direction. So you can't be too aggressive, so your slumps kind of come at hard times, and you have to stay connected. That's another really big important part of it. Reaching out to friends who are in similar situations. There were some people who had just gone senior gold that pulled me through, and I would constantly chew on Alyssa's ear and talk to her, and she reminded me of the basics. You need to pray, and it'll happen when it's time, and it's not your time when it's his time. It'll be your time. And so I prayed a lot, just like you said, and it will happen. And so I'm kind of facing similar situation now between senior gold and hitting ruby. I'm going to have to really dig into my patience and trust that it'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
For sure. And not taking it personally. We're
right.
not personal here.
Right. No, and I can be kind of a sensitive gal, so that's hard. It's a hard thing for me. I am emotional and sensitive, and I've learned a lot of lessons about that this last little over a year, about how to handle my emotions and how to handle things when they throw me.
For sure.
It's been good for me.
Awesome. Well, Jory, you're up next, my dear. The question was, okay, explain to me this whole pay point system. What the heck? Can you talk to us about that?
Of course. Okay, so everybody's heard of the stock market, and everybody knows when you buy a share of something, you get paid on if they make money, But in the stock market, you lose money if they lose money. That's not what happens here. So pay points are kind of like stocks that always go up. So you get paid points based on how many qualified ambassadors you have underneath you, depending on your rank. So once you hit silver, you start getting what we call points. Points basically mean for your levels when you're silver 1 through 5, you get paid a little bit of profit sharing on those people. So think of it this way. Everybody on your team is like a number. You get a little point value. So your levels 1 through 3 are worth 5 points. Your levels 4 are 4 points. 5s are 3 points. And then as you go up, 6 are 2 and 7 is 1. After the company makes all of their sales for the entire month, they add up how much and then divide it by how many qualified ambassadors, and it usually comes out to about $2 and change to about, I read today, up as high as $4.50 or so per point. So then let's say you have 50 points, you'd multiply that number by 50, and that's your paycheck. One of your paychecks, sorry. Yeah. Let's be clear, one. Yeah. So it really is pretty simple. The math is not anything we have to figure out. Thank goodness they do that. I know, Crystal, you probably would like to, because I know you're a total numbers lover. For those of us that could care less, I just want to see the numbers going up.
Show me the money.
Right. Give me that. No, okay. So if in your back office there's that little tiny box that shows you your points on there. And so that is going to be how many points you are paid out on at the end of the month. And that's why we get paid on the 15th, is because they have to figure out how much money they've made and how much money they put back in the company, how much money they put into us. So if you need more clarification, it's kind of an easy one-on-one thing. So if anybody has a specific question, reach out to your up and we can go through on your back office and show you. But you don't getting paid for points until you're silver. So if you're not silver yet, get there. Get there fast so you can start making money in another way.
Yeah, that's great. When I first started, I thought it was ridiculous. I was like, I don't know, I don't get it. But now that I'm like, oh, it's nothing. It's good. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for that. Okay, yeah. So Kelly, tell me how you keep. Okay, so we all know about follow-up. We know Fortune is in the follow-up. We've actually talked about how many follow-ups it takes to actually make a sale. Like really, 80% of all follow-ups. 80% of we've talked about how most sales are made after that fifth follow-up or fifth contact. But you've got your customer. How do you keep them from quitting? How do you follow up with your preferred customers?
A lot of texting for me. I just check in with them when their auto ship is supposed to go through or just before. See if there's any questions they have, or if there's anything else they'd like to try, or if I can be of any service. I kind of just check in with them. You know, I think I check in a little bit more if they're new sometimes, just because they don't know what's going on and they need some explanation about the die-off process or things like that. And also with the fact that it does take time. And for some people it takes months. Like for me it took 2.5 months to lose a pound. I lost inches, but you know, I just kind of held on to the fact that I was feeling better, and I trusted you. So I'm going to give it a go and all of that. So I think you have to kind of read, because people start to give off subtle signs, that they might be struggling. And again, I think it just kind of boils down to listening and being a good listener. And you know, finding out what it is they need to do more of and what you can suggest. Are they drinking their water? Are they, you know, are they following their schedule? Are they being consistent? All of those things, and you kind of have to ask the same subtle questions over and over again. And you know, you start to learn what it is that makes this stuff work, and it is time and consistency and water, and that you have to allow your body to you have to allow your body to do what it was meant to do, and that's, you don't want to keep shoving sugar in your face. You have to cut out sugars because that's what it's trying to eliminate in your body, because that's what yeast feeds off of and everything feeds off of. So I kind of have a little diet talk with them about how, you need to watch this or watch that. But I think also being personal with them, sending them thank you notes, or mainly keeping in contact is what I do.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The
That's
minute
huh?
You start to ignore somebody or just pretend like everything's okay. You check in your back office a couple days later, and poof, they've canceled their backup or their order, and sometimes it happens anyway, and they end up coming back. I've had people, most recently this last week, I had somebody who had quit. She's one of the very first people who started with me. She stopped after a couple months. Her life was crazy, and then last week she decided she was ready to recommit and become an ambassador. So, bam. You just never know. So, and I would continually follow up with her. But at first she was just a customer, and then out of nowhere, bam, there you go. So,
I think
follow up.
I think that's why we
follow up.
Yeah, follow up. Yeah, we are in the relationship business. You have to keep that relationship going, and it's not, checking in is one thing, but I think just like that at the beginning, a thank you card at the beginning. I do that with all my new customers, just because it's nice to get actual mail in the mailbox and not just a quick text thank you. I mean, unless it's my best friend, I'm probably not going to send her a thank you now. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think that's just those extra touches that shows that you care about them and you want this to be successful for them, especially in the beginning. And then you kind of get to know your customers. I have a couple customers, I only have to check in once before their order is, and how's it going, whatever, and they're like, that's all they need, because I have some customers been customers for over a year, or sometimes some a year and a half. So some it's different relationship than with those ones at the very beginning. But that all came to be because I was following up with them, because I got to know them, because I figured out how they roll. And that's, again, we are in the relationship business. If you're not following up, you're not going to understand that. So I would agree with you. That Fortune, again, you guys, is in the follow-up, not just for getting that sale, but for keeping that customer and making sure that they know that you care about them and that you want them to be successful. Okay, Joy, you are up with our next question. So what are you're my reader. You're always sending me pictures of books and things that you're reading. So I know that you've read a lot of personal development books. What are some that you recommend for personal growth, and maybe how one or two have impacted your business?
Okay, so I'm walking over to my bookshelf right now. I'm in my room. So yes, I buy a lot of books. I'm kind of a sucker. So anytime somebody posts on Amazon that they read this great book, I immediately go buy it with Amazon Prime. So I have stacks of books. But probably my absolute favorite is The Circle Maker by Mark Batterson. It's a faith-based book that really teaches you how to circle many things, everything in your life with prayer, and to dream big and to not be surprised when God starts answering those prayers and helping you with that. So that was probably the first book I read because Alyssa gifted it to me. I won it early on, and so that's probably the one that sticks out to me the most. I have a lot of books on network marketing. I think if you're new, you need to build your belief in the business and what is possible, because when you are new and things aren't moving very fast, you're getting a lot of rejection. You think this is a load of crock, it's not going to happen, so you start to give up. So I still do, but not as often, read books about network marketing, other success stories, other things of that nature, so that I can build my belief in the business itself and to see what others have done. John Maxwell's very good. His books on leadership are amazing. I'm trying to think what else I've read lately that I've been looking at a lot of books on insecurity, because that's an area of struggle. So that's kind of the topic I'm on right now. But I just kind of switch around based on whatever's going on in my head. But I would say when I do spend that 10, 15 minutes a day, it makes a big difference because it encourages me. It kind of lights a fire in me and it helps me be more positive and have things to share with my team too. So those are some favorites.
Awesome. Cool. Anybody else have a favorite that they've read? I'm a big fan of Millionaire by Halftime and GoPro for network marketing. For the other, again, anything John Maxwell, the 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership I've read. The Circle Maker is fantastic. I'm reading another one by John Maxwell. I forget what it is. Something about leaders. I don't remember. And then I'm doing some other, like some faith-based books as well, just to, again, feed my soul. Anybody else have any recommendations? I know there's Rock Your Network Marketing Business. For Your Career is another good one. Anybody else read anything different?
I just got Go for No,
Oh,
so I'm excited to read that one.
Oh, cool.
Go for No is another one, and also anything by Big Al. He does we were talking earlier about knowing the type of your skeptic, know what they're kind of interested in. He has a book about color coding and network marketing. That's a really good one too. His name's Big Al Snyder. So if you Google Big Al, you'll find it. Crystal, did you say you had one?
Oh yeah, I finished the book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Good one.
That one really helps with your mindset. I think anything that you can read to help with your mindset and get over your fears and insecurities, then that is really, really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Leslie Zan blog is really good too. I'm a Zan fan. Sarah Robbins is another blogger that is great to read as well. She also posts stuff on Facebook regularly, so you can write those names down too. Crystal, you're actually our next question. So I'm going to move on here.
Okay.
When you reach out to a potential and they say no or not interested, do you reach out to them again? And if so, how do you approach that?
Okay, actually, if I reach out to somebody, say for example via Messenger on Facebook, and if they say no or not interested or not right now, then I just make a note of it and I do not contact them again. But what's really interesting is I've actually found that I would say at a few of those, maybe even more than that, actually came back to me and said that they were interested. And I know that had to do with my posting, and also because no could just mean really not now, or I don't have the money, so I'm just going to say I'm not interested. And I've been finding that that is probably most likely the case. They're either skeptical or they don't have any money. Those are basically the two reasons why people wouldn't buy. Or they think, or I get people that tells me they don't use supplements, which I think that's interesting because I thought everybody would take something, whether it would be a vitamin or a probiotic, but I guess there are people in this world that don't take supplements, they don't believe in supplements, and so I've had to work with those. But I just found a friend of mine said she doesn't take supplements, and she did tell me that she would try Plexus, at least like, a couple of the products. And so really, if they say no, it just means not now, not at this time. And I would encourage you not to reach out to them again on Plexus and just build that relationship. And if they are interested and change their mind, then they'll get back to you. But now if they do say they're interested and they haven't responded back, you can keep reaching out to them. I say try reaching out to them until they tell you no, not interested, or not right now.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That's what Presley Swaggerty says in Millionaire by Halftime. Read that book. It's good. He mentions that usually no means this is not the right time for them. And so, again, I agree completely with what you said. Continue building. Don't just say, all right, peace out. Continue building that relationship. Comment on Facebook if you see something fun or on a picture or whatever. I think Celeste even talked about that today. You need to keep those relationships going. Invite them somewhere or something to that effect. But just keep your face visible in their feed or whatever, what have you. That's awesome. Okay, so the next question is for all of us. We can all kind of pipe in whenever. Crystal, I have you muted, so kind of raise your hand when you are there. So when you reach out to a potential, oh wait, no, just kidding. I just read that question. So what was one of the hardest things you've done to step out of your comfort zone that has made a huge impact on your business? Who wants to go for that one first?
I can answer that. So I didn't know if somebody else was raising their hand, but I'm sorry. So one of the first things I did that I really felt really bold about was to make a video of sharing my why with the world on Facebook. And it was so scary because it was a video and I was just talking, and I had never, ever done that before. But after I did that, I got such a huge response because people said, oh my gosh, this really means something to you. And you really are passionate about this. I thought you were just trying to make money. So when I shared that video, which was scary, and it's still scary, kind of scary to go live or do a video, people saw my heart and not just me hiding behind a Facebook post or a text. So I would say that was probably the first scary thing I did. But, and there's been other scariers, but.
That's super bold. That's perfect. Crystal, you had your hand raised. What was bold or super scary or took you out of your comfort zone?
Well, I had tried another network marketing company before, and I had a hard time with the phone calls. And when I found out about Plexus and I knew exactly what type of business this was and what I had to do, I just had to draw a line in the sand. And when, you know, when my upline, when Sylvia posted some challenges, you know, those different types of blitz, and we had to actually call people, that is really, I just said, I'm going to do it. Because if I want this business, and I want to get to the top, I'm going to do whatever it takes. So if I have to make 50 phone calls or contact 100 people, I'm just going to do whatever they told me, because obviously they know how to get to the top. And I was trained well with my other company that I was involved in, and I knew that I knew why they had told me before. And so I just changed my mindset right then, and I was just going to go for it. And I would say just making those phone calls, I got customers, I got ambassadors, my business just exploded just from calling people. And calling people, we're afraid of what they might think on the other end. Like, are they going to think I'm crazy, or is this going to destroy our friendship or whatever? But really, we're just asking them, well, we're sharing our story. And so I don't feel like I'm selling, a product like a purse or makeup or something that is more of just like an item. I'm selling health, but really I'm not selling health products. I feel like I am sharing something that will help them get over what they need to get over, and even just feel better about themselves in general. Mm-hmm. So I think that just made it easier to share than saying, hey, I've got some amazing face products, or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Something that took you out of your comfort zone? Dory, do you have anything? Okay, Dory, go for it.
Yeah. Okay, so I signed up to sell Plexus. Actually, I signed up to take Plexus and then to sell right after I moved from my entire network of people. I had lived in a place where I knew no one, and I moved there a month ago, still knowing no one. But that's another story. So it took me out of my comfort zone that I had to actually go back to all these people I had just left, and had been in the throes of moving and getting kids set with school and all these things that it's like I hadn't talked to a lot of them in 2 months, and then I'm like, hey, I haven't talked to you in 2 months, but here's this cool thing called Plexus. And I felt kind of weird. And after getting some coaching from my lovely friend Joy, she basically said, what you just said, Crystal, is you're not selling a product, you're just telling them your story. And, to be honest, if someone is going to get mad at me for reaching out to tell my story, were they really my friend in the first place? and sometimes it helps with a little bit of purging. I heard Ame Darling say, I'm always looking on how to make my friends list smaller, which I thought was kind of funny. Basically, if you're going to judge me on reaching out and just sharing what I'm passionate about and what's helping me and healing me, I don't need the negativity, so we'll just move on. There's tons of other people in this world that need the positivity, they need the healing, they need the health, and there's no reason why I should be ashamed of that, even though I was like 15 states away. So I've continued that, and I just keep sharing, and what's great about it is, yeah, we've talked about Plexus a lot, but I've reconnected with a bunch of people, and we've just started sharing life, so it's taken me out of my comfort zone of, I'm all alone. I can't go and reach out to people because I'm alone here. I shouldn't go back and reach out to the people that I just left. No, instead, let's connect and stay connected. And so it was double fold for me. So I got, some great customers and some ambassadors out of it. And also I reconnected with a bunch of friends. So see, everything works out the way it's supposed to. So just be bold and be brave.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Brave. That's my theme these days. Be brave. Anything else want to share, Kelly or Joy? Or no, Joy or Kelly, did you have anything took you out of your comfort
zone? For sure. This whole thing has been out of my comfort zone. So one, taking supplements is out of my comfort zone. And then I started to experience, some success, and with your help and Emily's help, I posted my first, before and during picture, and putting myself out there was out of my wheelhouse, because I kind of enjoyed being anonymous on Facebook for a long time. I just enjoyed, keeping up with friends and family, and I didn't realize, but then I had a mind switch when I realized that my story was helping other people and inspiring them to continue on in their journey, and that meant a lot to me. And you never really know who is watching or who can be impacted by something you say or how you're progressing, and that meant a lot to me personally. And when we were at convention, I had several people come up and just tell me thank you, and about made me cry every time because that was I've always been a helper, but I didn't realize that was, something that I was really doing. And the other thing I did was I started saying yes to things more. I started saying yes to things like, oh, sure, I'll do a Christmas bazaar. No problem. I've never done one before. Sure, I'll have lots of people over at my house and talk about Plexus. And I was kind of shy about talking about the business at first, and then now I have no problem telling people about it. So my entire comfort zone has been rocked. But I'm doing great because of it, and I've grown a lot because of it. So I guess my advice to people would be, don't be afraid to say yes, and say yes more often, because it really leads to cool things, like potentially going to Dallas here shortly. So that's exciting. Yeah. So I don't feel shy about it anymore. I don't hold back anymore. And I look forward to the day where I don't have to battle between my, my teaching job and my Plexus job, so that I can have a little bit more sanity in my life, because, it's all about balance. And, so, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, for me, I was pretty active on Facebook before that, so that wasn't a big thing. But for me, it was actually out loud. Saying what I was doing, and that I was proud of it. And at first, when I first started, I was a little nervous about it, and I was like, I'm not wearing a Plexus shirt. I think you guys have all heard that before. I'm not wearing a Plexus shirt. That's ridiculous. Stupid. You know what I mean? And now I feel like I'm proud of what I do, and I'm open to sharing it with anybody who asks. And I don't have to hide behind this little thing that I do behind my computer at home. Once I got past and got over myself, I think I was able to, pretty much that whole shout it out from the rooftops, like, this business is amazing, and it's awesome. And I will tell you, in the last, my business has been progressively growing, but in the last 6 months, I have had a lot of friendships that I thought were kind of weirded out by me. They're actually proud of me and happy for me, and they're actually asking me about my business. They're never going to join, and they probably will never buy from me, but I'm not that weirdo who drank the pink Kool-Aid anymore, or the pink Slim, whatever it is anymore. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not ashamed of it. I was never ashamed of it, but I think that I just wouldn't bring it up because somebody else wasn't bringing it up because they thought I was weird, and I was just like, now I'm like, no, this is the best opportunity ever. You're dumb not to get in on this. I don't say that out loud, but you know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel. So I bust out my plexus shirts. I'm wearing them all the time. I'm getting up in front of people and talking about this, whereas before, I will never forget when Emily asked me she's like, we should do a launch party. I'm like, we should not do that at all. And she talked me into it, and yeah, from here on out, that's been kind of my, again, my whole theme is being brave. Be bold, be brave, get out there, be proud of what you do. It is scary to do that. It takes me way out of my comfort zone because I want people just to like me. Everybody just needs to like me because I hate confrontation and it freaks me out and it makes my stomach hurt when people don't like me. But I've learned that now it doesn't matter. I just need to be true to myself, true to my team, true to my God, and that is all that matters. And that's pretty much the reward is a sense of wholeness and of well-being. So that's kind of my journey. And that's going to lead us to our last question. What would be your biggest piece of this for everybody? Biggest piece of advice for your team, because you all lead big teams. You're all going to Dallas. I know it, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So your biggest piece of advice for your team right now in this business. You know where people are at. You know kind of their ups and downs, their ebbs or flows, their struggles. What would be your biggest encouragement or your piece of advice for them right now? I'm just going to kind of walk through everybody. Crystal, why don't you tell us what your biggest piece of advice for your team is right now?
Okay. Well, I would say my biggest piece would be to just boldly share with everybody you know, and just do what it takes. If you want this job to be a hobby, then you would get paid like a hobby. If you want it to be like to replace your job now or your dream job, then just treat it like that and just do what it takes and do all the challenges and just give it 110%, really. And you'll reap what you sow. So if you are going to put the time in and do what it takes and make the phone calls, reach out to people, talk to people, then you will be rewarded just in some way. And also, I would recommend, we're going into the new season, and if there's anything you can get involved in, like any clubs or I don't know, Bible studies or organizations or anything where you're around people, then I would encourage you to do that, because you can build new relationships, have new people that you can reach to and help get healthy, and also help get them, help them with their finances if that's needed, and they could join your team. But just having new people around you, and just to keep continuing to build your social network.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with that too. Dory, what about you? Biggest piece of advice you want to give your team right now, or encouragement?
I'd say don't be afraid to ask for help. I feel like sometimes we can get intimidated looking at all the people that are above us of, oh gosh, there's no way I can make that. There's no way I can do that. Remember why you started. Remember your why. I know that's so cliche in our business to say that, but remember why you started, and remember in life that you have to learn how to ride a bike by falling a couple times. You know what I'm saying? So you've got to learn, and the way you learn is by asking someone to help you. So if you don't know something, don't be ashamed to ask. I would recommend, in fact, asking lots of people. I personally like to get a few different people's opinions, like, hey, how do I best use this product, or how do I best talk to this kind of person? We have lots of different pages. Ask on all of them. Get lots of different answers. And then get involved in, like Crystal was saying, with the challenges, the posts on our team pages. Build up our team. If you pour into our team and your team and the people around you, they're going to pour back into you, and that fills you up so that you can go out there ready to face the world. When you're when you're strong and ready, like I think of like the Olympics right now. The athletes are trained, they practiced, they've fallen down, they pick themselves up, they keep going, they keep going, they keep going. So then when they come to the Olympics, they're ready to perform their best. That's what we're doing. We're going to learn, we're going to struggle, we're going to learn from each other, we're going to, try something, we're going to readjust, we're going to keep not giving up. And then when we go out and talk to our customers, our future customers, our current customers, talking to new ambassadors, going to a sip and see, doing a party like Kelly was talking about, like an event, we're going to be ready. We're going to be game on. Let's go. Plexus is the bomb. Let's go. So that's my advice.
Thanks, Joy. Okay, Joy, what would you encourage your team to do right now? Knowing your team, what advice would you give them to grow them?
Well, one of the things that I've always said, and I've said this for my real job, my teaching job too, is fake it till you make it. So I think sometimes we think, oh, I'm a team of 5 people and they're all wholesalers. I don't care how many people you have on your team. Fake it till you make it. Pretend you are a jewel and run your team and your team page and lead like a jewel. And this, I met Amber Miller. I sat down. She's a diamond, 26-year-old diamond. Sat down with her at breakfast at Super Saturday because she was with another friend of mine that I knew, and I just joined them. And that was her piece of advice. And that, I think, has really, that is when just kicked me into high gear in January. I had 13 people on my team, and I said, oh, I don't care, because none of them wanted to run the business. They just were wholesalers. I said, okay, fake it till I make it. So I started a team page and just started pretending like I was an emerald, just to try to inspire and motivate and get momentum. And that, I think, was a turning point for me. So my first year of teaching, my support mentor teacher told me, fake it till you make it. And don't show your fear. Don't show that you're insecure. Walk into that room and take charge like you know what you're doing. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing. And in January, I didn't know what I was doing. But 8 months have gone by, and my team is 10 times bigger. So I would say fake it till I make it was a good piece of advice that I'd like to pass on to people. So.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, Kel, what about you? Biggest piece of advice for your team right now?
Well, I like what everybody has said so far. I would share all of that advice with my team, and then I would also just encourage them at this stage of the game just to be consistent. You can't start and stop and then pull back up again another couple weeks later and expect everyone to be waiting for you. You have to build your brand. You have to keep your audience with you, and don't stop. Do what it takes to get where you want to go, and be bold as you reach out. You're going to have to fit it into your life. You have to figure out how it fits into your life, and don't make excuses. Try to jump in and learn as you go, and don't feel like you have to know everything right away or have some massive success story to get started. Get out there and start sharing, and do it boldly, because you never know who might need it. But for me, the consistency factor and posting every stinking day, multiple times a day, without fail, even when times are hard, and even when you don't feel like you know what you're doing. I remember being nervous about posting at first, not knowing what I was going to post, and just make it a regular habit and don't stop.
Yeah, that's great. Because even when you think no one's watching, I guarantee you they are.
And they sure notice when you stop. They do.
They do, because then they'll think, oh yeah, that was a thing. So again, I kind of will piggyback a little bit on that. Again, sound like a broken record, but this is key in our business, is consistency. Every single day, whether it be with your customers, whether it be with your ambassadors, whether it be just with trying to get your business off the ground, consistency. People are watching, and some are waiting for you to fail and quit. Which brings me to my next point. Never, ever, 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 ever quit. If you want this business to work, I guarantee you, I got this from Sylvia the other day. I was watching her on another video, and I just was like, yep. If you are consistent, and if you are posting, and if you are reaching out, you will get to the top. It may be at a different speed than everybody else, and that's fine. You can't compare yourself. Don't compare. That's another thing. Do not compare your journey to anybody else's. Your journey is your journey. My journey is not Joy's. My journey is not Kelly's. Theirs is not mine. Mine is between me and my team, and I am on my path. You are on your path. But if you are consistent, if you're posting, if you're reaching out, if you're following up, if you are working every single day, I mean, got your weekends or whatever, but you know, if you're working consistently every single day, and you have it in your mind that this is what you're going to do, you're doing your IPA, you will get there. Don't quit. That is my word of advice. That is how I've gotten to where I am. That's how each one of these leaders have gotten to where they am. They drew their line in the sand and they said, this is what I'm doing. I believe in this. Here are my dreams. I'm circling them up. I'm praying for them, and I'm going for it, and I'm not quitting. So that's my word of advice. And we've gone long, but this has been fantastic, and I'm really excited about this. I will be posting this later. I just want to thank, we lost Jory, but I just want to thank everybody for coming on. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Kelly and Joy and Jory for coming on and helping me out and leading our team. You guys are amazing leaders. I, for one, am beyond ridiculously blessed that you guys are all here. And if you'd asked me a year ago if I'd be sitting here doing this, I would have probably been like, what? And so God is good. So I'm going to stop this broadcast and say thank you guys and have a great night. All right.
Bye.